Yes, indeed, folks. Looks like the internet is not cooperating today, I'm afraid. There's obviously too much epic coming through the tubes. Yes, I did just say epic! Never get tired of that one. I will attempt to continue doing the show. Trust me, the archive will work as intended. If I do get disconnected, please don't panic. Please don't call the fire department and or police. Or the ambulance. It won't help. Like I was saying before, some idiot sliced the main fibre optic backbone for this area a few nights ago when they were digging under the river. Not kidding. Building the second Tyne tunnel. And of course they now even won't accept responsibility for it. It's the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. Like, good lord. It seems rather ironic that someone who slices through a backbone doesn't seem to have one of their own to admit their own mistakes. Right. Just a quick reminder to those who want to submit for the illusion of choice, it's themurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com. If you have a suggestion for the last topic of the show, you can email it to me and I may choose it. Possibly. Or I may give the illusion that I've chosen it. Whatever. I'm not done, folks. Lots more rants to go, I'm afraid. This is a ranty show, and I don't really apologise for that, because the worst thing, the thing which gets me more riled up in this game than anything else, is when I see a good thing ruined. For no apparent reason whatsoever. And the good thing in this case is Old War. Now, if you're not already in the IRC channel, you might want to be, because there's been some links posted there. IRC.MMOIRC.com, #WoW Radio, or click the chat button at the top of the screen on WCRadio.com. And go check out our chat room. And you can get links from our IRC representative. Now, there's an article on MMO Champion regarding the patch 3.1.2 Old War boss changes. There's a wide variety, I'll put it that way. Now, the first one is, well, it's not really a first one. It's just a massive, great list of nerfs. Yeah? Seriously. Now, the nerfs are happening to the first 5 or 6 bosses, yeah? Ignis is nerfed. Razor Scale is nerfed. XT002 Deconstructor is nerfed. Iron Cancel is nerfed. Colligan is nerfed. And Oriah is nerfed. Huh? Now, other things have not really been nerfed. Well, some of them have. Mimiron's Proximity Mines got nerfed as well. General Vezax is still kind of the same, really. And Algernon got buffed. Now, here's the thing, right? I've seen more nerfs to this instance in the past 2 weeks than I've seen, like, nerfs to anything in a period of 2 or more months. And the amount of nerfs they have put in to this instance already is ridiculous. We talked about the nerfs to Emelon earlier. And I would imagine that my internet connection may have just gone down. Possibly. No, it seems to be going. It's okay. I'm getting the hamster going there. Feed it a little bit more cheese and get it running on that wheel. Or as I was saying to people on Vent earlier, I am shoveling a little bit more coal and building up a head of steam into my router to make sure that it doesn't die. Now, these are, like, really bad nerfs, and I'm going to take this as a prime example, yeah? This is the one that I'm most upset about, yeah? XT002 Deconstructor. Let me tell you a little bit of a story here. XT002 Deconstructor is the 4th boss in Old War, yeah? And it stands in the way of getting into the main Old War complex. It's right in front of the door, so it's like a gateway boss. And killing this boss, for us, was a challenge, because we killed him before all the nerfs, yeah? We spent like 2 full nights wiping, all consumables, all raid buffs, and we killed him. And when we did, it was awesome. It was awesome. It was one of those classic kills. You remember, a little while ago on the show, I was talking to you about classic kills. The kind of kill where it's like a knife edge. And it's like, oh my god, he's about to go in rage, oh my god, can we kill him? And people are like, yeah, go on, kind of really getting all hyped up on Ven about it, and then finally we down him, it's like, yes! And the big roar of 25 nerds suddenly crying out in exultation, and then suddenly silenced, because something terrible has happened. Yeah, it was great, it was an awesome kill. And it was a good fight. Unfortunately, it's now not. It's been nerfed to the ground, baby. To the ground. The biggest problem I've got with it is the Typanic Tantrum, which is an ability which, before nerf, did 120% damage to everyone in the raid over 12 seconds, which meant basically everyone had to be healed, has now been nerfed down to 8 seconds, meaning it only does 80% of your health over 8 seconds, which doesn't kill you at all. Now, this fight has received so many nerfs, it is just so upsetting. And the reason, and this was quote by Ghostcrawler, is we want as many people as possible to see the content. Revelation for you, Ghost Crawler, and everyone else over there in the raid design department, they can't. Because you are nerfing it. Now, that doesn't make a lot of sense, initially, but hear me out. They can't see the content because what you are doing is giving them a dumbed-down Playmobil version of the content. It's like saying, I would like everyone to play on my 360, but they can't afford one, so I'm going to buy them a VTech instead. It's terrible. They're not seeing the content as you envisioned it. Like the proper content. It's not really content if you can face roll it. It's why we hated Naxx, right? This is how you ruin Naxx, okay? You ruined Naxx by taking a initially great instance, which was challenging in every respect and had a number of very unique and innovative encounters, and making it so that it wasn't a challenge anymore. Yeah? Heigendats can't kill you. Used to be able to, used to kill you in one hit, can't do it anymore. Fail on Thaddeus, doesn't kill you. Fail on Globulus, doesn't kill you. Patchwork, let's nerf the enrage timer, make him hit less. It's like nerf, 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 all the way through. Saffron, oh god, Saffron. How much more of a joke could Saffron possibly be? It used to be a resistance fight, you don't even need resistance gear anymore. It's a hilarious joke. And of course, you said, oh, well, we wanted to see people, to let people see this instance. Yeah, you know what? You know what they're seeing? Art assets. Art assets, that's it. Nothing else. They're not seeing the encounters the way they used to be. They're not experiencing the challenging content. It's not worthwhile. They're not seeing what Naxx used to be. The sad thing about it is that everyone now thinks Naxx was the worst instance ever because they've just been doing 6 months of face rolling in there. I used to have good memories of Naxx, and they're now tarnished by that joke. And the same thing is happening to Ulduar. Now, you might say, oh, well, you've got the hard modes, but here's the thing, right? They're buffing the hard modes over and over again. Now, personally, to start with, I have a problem with them moving the goalposts while guilds are trying to kill it. It's stupid. I've got to buff the hard modes. Oh, sorry, you were doing that? You know, you were cooking in here? It's like someone walking into your house, like you're making some nice bacon. They go to your pot and they suddenly throw like a bunch more oil in the pan, and he's like, oh, well, what are you doing? He's like, oh, well, I thought it would be better this way. Oh, sorry, you were cooking? No, I'm sorry. Oh, not really, because I just made the changes. No, that's horrible. That's a problem in itself, but the biggest problem I've got is this, right? You've got a massive great gap now, and it's only widening. I mean, the buff to XT is ridiculous on the hard mode. Have you seen what they've done? It's like he gains 150% health. Are you kidding me? So, I mean, I imagine this must be how it works. When you kill the heart, yeah, which activates the hard mode, he not only regains all of his health, but he gets an extra 50% on top of it? Really? Seriously? Is that what happens? Because that is just silly. I mean, they buffed that twice already, and XT002 was already difficult on that. Now you might say, oh, well, Total Biscuit, that's a hypocritical whine because you were asking for challenging content. Right, here's the thing, yeah? It's binary challenging. You've got a choice, right? Your average run-of-the-mill guild, yeah? I'm in an average run-of-the-mill guild right now. We're pretty good, but we're not great. We could use a lot of work. We're a bit rusty, we've got a lot of new players in there, and we're not doing as well as we could be, but we're progressing slowly but steadily, with determination, vigilance, and eventually focus. And we kill bosses, and we're getting through at a reasonable pace. There are a lot of guilds like us, an awful lot of guilds. Indeed, that is the majority of raiding guilds. Yep, there are two minorities when it comes to raiding guilds, yeah? There is the Bleeding Edge Hardcore, and on the other end, there are the Scrubs. Yeah, the raiding guilds who are so totally hopeless, they were the same guys who were wiping on the Snake Boss and Zul'Gurub up for 3 months, before decent players like myself went in and told them how to do it. Those are the guilds, yeah? Those are the really bad guilds. The problem is, yeah, by nerfing the normal modes, those are the guilds you are catering to. Those guys, the minority. And it's funny, because before this you were saying you didn't want to cater to the minority, you wanted to cater to the majority, the silent majority. Let me tell you this, the silent majority are pretty good at the game, eh? The silent majority, the guys who aren't whining on the forums every 5 minutes, crying everywhere, and demanding nerfs left, right and centre, and saying, oh, well, I deserve the content too, because I pay my $15 a month. Those are the minority. We are the majority. I might not be the silent majority, I tell you that, I am nothing but. But there are people in game, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions of raiders that are the silent majority, that are just trying to progress through. Yeah, and they want a challenge. and they're not good enough yet, or they don't have the gear yet to do the hard modes. Now, by making the hard modes harder and the easy modes easier, you are making it harder for those guilds to get into the challenging content. You're giving them two choices. Either they pick the easy-ass content that they can face roll through with their eyes closed and both hands tied behind their back, or they try the hard modes, which they can't beat in a million years, because they don't have the DPS. As you heard earlier, a lot of the hard modes are DPS checks. They're gear checks. They're about putting out obscene amounts of healing and damage. How do you do it? Oh, you do that by getting gear. It's a gear check. It's horrendous. It's a massive problem. You're catering to this tiny minority of terrible players. And why? Why ruin your own content? You are blasting your own great raid instance into oblivion for the sake of a few people who probably couldn't even get themselves out of bed in the morning under their own power. Let alone do anything worthwhile in society. These people are idiots. Why cater to them? They are the minority of your paying player base. We are the majority. We are the majority of the paying player base. And we deserve some challenging content. And it was. It was well-tuned. It was difficult and well-tuned. It was challenging and well-tuned for your average raiding guild. It is going to make it even harder, because making the jump, yeah? This is something that TBC had a problem with. Making the jump between heroics and raiding in TBC was hard. That is what Blizzard themselves claimed, and they said they never wanted to repeat that. Yeah? But now what they've done is they've gone entirely in the other direction. They've gone to extremes again. And I can't understand this. I don't know what they're thinking with this. It's like you had 6 months of face-rollable content, which made guilds fat, pudgy, flaccid, and terrible. And then you released a well-tuned instance that was a wake-up call. Yeah? It was the personal trainer that comes into your room at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're lying there in a pool of your own Cheeto dust and cans of Coca-Cola, and he says, "Oi, fatso, wake up, there's work to do." And he punches you repeatedly until you finally get out of bed. And he says, "Right, we're gonna go run the block around." And say, "I don't want it, you do it, or I will hit you with this." And he gets out this huge 2x4 with nails in it from his bag, which is inexplicably small. And he gets it out and he beats you around the head with it until you start running around that block. And you keep doing it, and you know what? It's for your own good. And you get better that way. You don't get better by saying, "Oh, it's okay to have that piece of cake." Yes, I am making a fat analogy. How inappropriate on a WoW radio show. It's not okay to have that piece of cake at all. And it's not okay to do this crappy little nerfed boss. It's like, oh, you achieved something. You beat the nerfed after the nerfed after the nerfed after the nerfed boss. No, you didn't achieve jack. You were practicing on the boss. Oh, look, the boss has now got easier. We don't need to practice anymore. We don't need to be determined. We don't need to be focused, because we know that Blizzard's just next week is going to nerf it. It's like the same problem you have with economic deflation. Yes, I'm bringing money into it now. Economic deflation. The same thing that happens, right? What happens when you have economic deflation? I'll tell you what happens when you have economic deflation. You don't buy. You do not buy goods, because you know they're going to be cheaper next week. Same difference. You don't go and wait for a night on a boss because you know it's going to get nerfed next week. It's raid deflation. It deflates the morale of the player base. It deflates the morale of raiding guilds. And it deflates their determination and their drive to succeed. Because the attitude that Blizzard's putting out there is, it's okay, we'll keep nerfing it until you can do it. No point working yourself, we'll do all the legwork for you. Raiding is only fun when it's a challenge. Otherwise, it's a 4-hour waste of time, which you should have learned after the last 6 months of seeing people complain about Naxx. I didn't want to go to Naxx raids because it was a 4-hour waste of time. It was mind-numbingly boring. And you know what? The average guild still, and indeed every guild, still has to do those bosses on a weekly basis. And Scrubs, of course, ask, well, why does it affect you? Because you've already beaten it. Because we have to kill them on a weekly basis. And I'd rather not face roll through 3 hours of content to get to something that's hard. I'd rather do something that was challenging all the way through. It keeps me focused, it keeps me alert, it keeps me entertained. And that is important. That is vitally important, that I be entertained, because that's what I pay my money for. So what I would say to Blizzard is simply this. Will you stop nerfing your raid instance? Will you stop pissing on your own legacy? because I love Ulduar and I don't want to see it ruined. Quit it! You listen to Blue Please here on WoW Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. I will be right back after this with some very special secret news and the illusion of choice. Enjoy.